With peace and glory ahead, why should I be standing in line? Just waiting for once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a just once in khaki suits, gee, we look fine for that Yankee Say, don't you remember they called me Al? It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember? I'm your pal, buddy, can you spare a dime? Why don't you remember we were pals, buddy? Can you spare a dime? Can you spare
That was a good way to start off our sound management discussion celebrating our current international chorus champions for our Northern Lights. Pretty iconic performance. How many of you were in, I guess that was 2001 maybe, when they sang that the first time, sang it again the year after? Probably the best second place performance, one of the best second place performances there. I mean, there have been some pretty great ones since then too, but man, that was good. What did you like about the choral tone? What did you like about the tone of that, and about that performance?
Very clean. All parts sounded like one voice.
Yeah,
Almost.
very clean, great unity, great. It's like a big quartet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy, even though the dynamics were loud and soft, the energy was coming through.
Yeah, constant energy throughout the whole dynamic range. Absolutely. What else? What else we like?
Consistent focus and terribly accurate diphthongs.
Yeah, I mean, just the very consistent. So it really, the language in this song is so important, and their execution of that was really terrific.
The full resonance.
Yeah, how many guys do you suppose were in that performance?
The lowest possible guess at that time.
Yeah, they're probably only about, I'd say about 40.
About 40.
Yeah.
About 40 guys. Yeah, I mean, they had, I think, 75 or so on stage this year.
It's really nice, open, warm, flowing sound. It's so free and just let it happen.
Oh yeah, and just effortless, and just again, effortless power instead of powerful effort in that tone. I mean, just and really, I think really one of the best choral tones in our society for a long time. I mean, there's one of the things we're going to talk about this week, and this is the sound management class. And sound management, our definition of that is helping to build your ensemble sound. The sound, the ideal sound for your ensemble. We're going to discover there are a lot of, there is no one right answer. There's a lot of different approaches from describing your ideal sound, the sound you hear in your head, with the best performance of your chorus. But there are a lot of common approaches to developing that. Really, good singing is good singing. Tim Sharp is going to do a session, I believe, this evening about that. And from an individual vocal perspective, from some of the ensemble skills we're going to discuss this week, there are some commonalities there. But from a tone perspective, there are some other choices as well that have been very successful. I happen to like this one as a pretty great model to follow. So thanks for being here, first of all. Thank you for giving up a week of vacation, I'm sure, for most of you, and a week away from your families and the rest of your lives to come here and to bring back great tools and bring back a better experience for the singers in your chorus. You're all here. I presume this is first year Directors College students, everybody here, right? How many of you, is this your first time at Harmony University? Fantastic. You are in, if you haven't already figured it out, you're in for what Dave Stevens used to call being hot dipped in barbershop. Literally, this is a week that you are going to go home exhausted and just excited and enriched beyond your wildest imagination, because there's so much this week you can take away. And one suggestion for you is don't go back next week and try to do it all. Right, don't go through the kitchen sink at it next week, because coming here, how many of you are frontline chorus directors? Okay, assistant directors? Great. Section leaders? Aspiring directors? Aspiring to be better directors? How many people have never raised their hand before? Got everybody now, great. So one of the things that you being here does, this buys you a free pass for at least 6 months to do whatever you want in front of the chorus. Just because you're here. Because first of all, you're going to get enough tools in your tool belt to go back and take a lot of different approaches and try a lot of things. And you can experiment. And if something goes great, everybody says, look how much our director learned at Harmony University. And if something doesn't go quite as well, you can say, well, that worked a whole lot better in St. Joe than it did here. Right? I mean, so you've got that license. And just about the time the license runs out, you can come back next year to Belmont. Right, so my name is Steve Tramack, by the way. I've had the opportunity, and good fortune to teach this class now for a number of years at Harmony U. I'm a director of a chorus in Nashua, New Hampshire called the Granite Statesman Chorus. I directed them from 1996 roughly through 2007. I just started back up again. We had the good fortune to go to international a number of times during that first run, and I am thrilled to be here to share some of the experiences that I've learned at these kind of classes at Harmony U over the years, and to share in the experience we're going to have here in the room. So this is very exciting, because we are going to be kind of diving into how can you make your chorus enjoy their experience better by singing better. Is there anyone here whose chorus wants to sing worse? Or wants to just kind of maintain where they're at, right? I mean, that's pretty universal, regardless of the experience or type of chorus. We get the enjoyment from singing better, and they're going to feel better about about not only singing easier through the night and not working quite as hard, but also about not fighting on the rises. Rick Johnson says fighting in a barbershop is bad. Right, and how many of you have a basso profundo voice in your chorus, kind of the voice of God kind of voice? Anybody have that? Right. How many of you also have in your chorus one of those real clarion, real pristine, kind of like a bell choir kind of voice? Anybody have those? Right, so if you stand those voices next to each other, what happens? Yeah. Right. Yeah. They end up annoying each other, even if they happen to like each other. The guy with the pristine voice at the end of the night feels exhausted right? He feels beaten down. The guy with the big voice feels frustrated because he doesn't feel supported, right? So just simply by looking at the inherent resonance in the voices of your chorus, stacking your chorus so that voices support each other, you can cure a lot of ills that way too. So we're going to look at, through the course of the week, a lot of those kinds of techniques. So this is, at a glance, this is what we're going to do this week. We're going to focus on building a system for creating beautiful tone, freely produced, resonant tone. Let me ask you, how many of you are currently barbershoppers? Okay. How many of you are not barbershoppers? Are maybe here as music educators, just solely as music educators? How many of you are music educators and barbershoppers? Awesome. Terrific percentage of that. Fantastic. So hopefully, the kind of things that we're doing here, particularly around the individual vocal production, are not going to be unique to the barbershop style. Good singing is good singing. Freely produced, resonant, supported singing is perhaps some of the lexicon of vowels, perhaps the use of things like vibrato, and certainly the literature are going to be different, but I think a lot of the things that we cover from an individual vocal production perspective should transcend. So we'll look at not only the individual building the instrument, individual voice, but we'll look at the vocal registers and look at traversing registers. We're going to look at developing a lexicon of vowels and start to get into some ensemble skills. We'll look at things like resonance, matching resonance, synchronization of word sounds, intonation. Certainly tuning is, as we listen to groups like Northern Lights and some of the most successful groups, you start to hear that the filter, as scores increase, you hear the granularity of the filter being tightened, and the intonation, that the lock and ring that we receive from pristine intonation just continues to improve. Very important part of developing that clean sound for an ensemble. We'll look at enough theory to be dangerous. How many of you would consider yourself neophytes when it comes to theory, right? So how many of you feel like, I can make my way, but it's really great to have somebody, a music specialist in the chorus, right? Great. So for those of you here, we'll talk about kind of a couple of really, really important things to identifying the music that are going to have a big impact on the choral sound. Just enough theory to be dangerous. And also look at, how many of you today are consider yourself the primary voice teacher for your chorus? Okay, how many of you have somebody in the chorus that does voice for the chorus? Very few. All right, so he's pointing right over here. Great. So one of the things, and as first-year Directors College students, you'll also be going through the leadership class tonight. So in leadership, one of the things you'll get is a template for doing a voice lesson that you can hand off to an assistant director. A lot of assistant directors in here or section leaders that they can run without having a vocal pad background. It's based on using some leadership techniques and some feedback mechanism within a small group of 4 to 5 people, and positive reinforcement that will have an impact on the group. So we'll look at that as well. You'll walk home with a template for doing that this week. And we'll do some stacking of the chorus, looking at some different approaches and philosophies for that during the week, and also analyzing, prioritizing, and fixing problems. So another thing I'd encourage you to do through the week, I've got a few books here. You being here, you're students of the game. I know that, and obviously you're here and interested in learning. I personally find that I learn best by doing, by teaching, being out in front of the chorus on a regular basis, and also by just exploring different topics through books, through online. We've got a number of books here, and so for example, Analyzing, Prioritizing, and Fixing Problems, a great book in that is called The Diagnosis and Correction of Vocal Faults, James McKinney. And this has chapters on basic approach to vocal sound, diagnosing faults, posture, breathing support, phonation, registration, voice classification such as range, tessitura, etc., resonance, goes into some of the physiology behind that, articulation, And what this does is it talks about typical issues that you might encounter and what are some of the approaches you can use to address those in each of those areas. So encourage you to take a look at these through the week. We'll talk about a few more. But we've now been here in the room for 12 minutes. We haven't sung yet. Everybody stand up, please. We'd like to come down and direct us in Heart of My Heart. All these directors. Wonderful. Come on down here. Everybody welcome Brian. A flat. Brian, good job. What do we like about Brian? What do you like as a singer, singing for Brian?
He expresses his gesture.
Very expressive. Very hands. Commanded our attention, yes. What else?
Control.
Good control. Good control of the room. Good control of the music as well, yes. What else? Anything else?
His face was very bright.
Good face. Good expressive.
Very nice. Very nice.
I like when he pointed in his hand. Hey, my speed, my speed.
Yes. Told us exactly where he wanted to go this song. Now, let's use that. That's going to be our baseline for the week. We got the Zamboni going by. It's our baseline. So, how many of you don't know "Heart of My Heart"? Anybody? Awesome. Yeah. Do you have the music for it?
Not with me.
Anybody have the music for it? So.
Always have
You may want to sit over there. If you need the music for it, I guarantee you'll know the song by the end.
Yeah.
So we'll use "Heart of My Heart." We'll use some vocal exercises just to sing, and it's really important to kind of get a baseline and understand what impact certain things have as we go through the different vocal production techniques. What I think we'll probably find is that sometimes things will have a big impact, and we'll all feel it, we'll all know it right away. Right? But there are going to be other times when the local impact is small, but the global impact is big. And it's times like that when you as a director say, "Did you hear that?" And they're going to say, right? So understanding how it felt when they did that is really important, right? And understanding some of these kind of things and how people learn and how to teach are also some of the things that we'll go through during the week. For example, we all have kind of a different orientation for learning. Some of us are very understanding oriented, meaning that we need to understand the process. So for those folks, having a better knowledge about the anatomy and physiology of voice is probably going to be important, particularly if they're kind of left brain, understanding oriented people. They're going to want to know. Now, you might not want to tell the whole chorus, right? But you might want to be able to have a sidebar conversation with that person so they understand and get. A lot of people are process-oriented learners, right? They need to understand and go through the process to learn, right? And that's more important to them than knowing the end result. There are others that are results-oriented. You have to know, hey, you know what, just tell me what you want. And then I'm okay with going through and doing it. So understanding those kinds of things are going to be important as a director, and we'll look at some of those things through the week. Now, you notice I've got some slides up here. I have a bunch of handouts to go through during the week, but I also happen to have the slide deck. My email address is right up front, so I'm happy to send it to you electronically. But if you, if you're wheeling your bag around, or you don't mind, carrying around a hard copy, I do have a copy of all the slides, so you don't have to take notes. In fact, we'll pass these around. Just pass around a few copies. Take it if you want, or pass it along. And we'll have some other stuff during the week as well. I'm not sure if enough. Could you pass those around? Anybody else? Did everyone want one?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get it? Oh.
Some more?
Yeah. Thought you had it.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. From a vocal production perspective, right? Singing through that, how much of an impact do we have as a director? Significant, right? Everybody stand up, please. Let's have that. Exaggeration, perhaps, right? But what are some of the things that you feel, when you're seeing a director that either is disengaged or is perhaps trying to direct a softer dynamic, but is doing so by letting everything go, versus someone who's looking for more energy? What do you feel as a singer?
No support under the tone.
No support under the tone.
Well, that aggressive clench just makes you sing louder. There's no quality to it. Just yelling now.
Right.
Yeah, not modeling like a good singing face with raised levitors or anything like that.
Right. What they see is what you get, which is also has to be the title of a great video, Rodney Eichenberger, What They See Is What You Get. Well, I attended Harmony U at Ohio State when it was here, or there in 2005, I think, and was in Jim Henry's directing techniques. And he said, this video changed my life. I immediately went back to the room after class and ordered it online. Because that's the kind of thing. There are tools you pick up during the week here that will have an impact on you. So, but just that statement, what they see is what you get. As we go through, and particularly today, build a better instrument. That's going to be really important to be able to model the vocal model that you're looking for. Be able to model not only the support, the color, the alignment, and the energy in the tone. Great. Go ahead and have a seat. So let's talk about kind of the basics of tone production, and the approach we're going to use here is let's create a system that gives you something you can carry through from the warm-up through the frontline director, assistant directors, section leaders, a general approach that you can follow that achieves the maximum impact for your course, and they hear it repeatedly. The best systems are ones that are simple to convey, that can be conveyed consistently, things you can attach kinesthetics to. If you can come up with a gesture that helps to build the instrument and remind the course to rebuild the instrument, and it's a gesture that's going to be unique to you and your style and your course, but if you can associate a gesture with it, that where everything feels right, that kinesthetic learning is a great way of helping to remind the course so that and consistently implement it. So you guys are you with Circle City?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. So we happen to have the treble clef of Instant Classic here in the room. Fantastic semifinalists, soon to be finalists. The international contest. And Circle City was 7th this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you guys talk about the system that Circle City kind of has from a tone production perspective?
Sure. Yeah. Are you talking about like rehearsal techniques they used?
Yeah, I mean, just how do you build the chorus's tone? Is there a consistent approach, or how would you describe the tone or implement it?
We did a really great coaching session with Grant Graham actually a while ago, and he really worked with a lot of like sort of vowel placements that we can use and targets that we can find to sort of get the kind of sound that we want.
Yeah.
And we really worked a lot with just vocal techniques, like breathing in on the vowel that we're coming in on, and he would kind of use some visual aspects of it, some kinesthetic things, and that really helped the chorus kind of create that default sound.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and we called it that too. It's like this is our default sound, and if we want to go outside and do some new colors in a certain section, for artistic effect, then we do that for a little bit, and then we come back to that sort of default sound.
Right.
And we work on that every day. Theo and I both sort of go back and we do warm-ups with the chorus at the beginning before Gary takes there.
Yeah.
So,
And David even said, you even saw when you were talking about the vowels, you even used that kind of a visual.
That's basically, literally, it's like what was he saying, it's like a skateboard coming in and out.
Skateboard, or
something
like
like
a bow and arrow.
Yeah, bow and arrow.
Like this, and it just, the air goes in, breathing on the vowel, and just through the implementation, I mean, it's, we'll get a new technique from a coach or something like that, and then we'll say, okay, we need to make sure that every warm-up, we're reminding them, we're implementing it, and then not only don't just focus on it, like the, mini Harmony University in the first 15 minutes of chorus rehearsal, and then we go about singing repertoire, and then we don't talk about it again. You have to keep using it. You have to keep using that terminology, so that way it becomes second nature to them, and that way you can just say, just a simple gesture, and they know already, oh yeah, that's right.
Exactly. So that, great illustration of developing a system, right, employing it throughout the rehearsal from warm-ups, individual work, and having some kinesthetics and gestures that help to set up key aspects, right? And with this system, the key is, first of all, have an end in mind. Have the vision of what your perfect choral tone is in mind, but don't try to win the war every week. Win a battle. Pick a battle that you're going to win. Tonight's rehearsal is sponsored by the vowel E. If E is that problematic vowel where that the lock and ring and the wall sound you have every time you get to an E collapses and crumbles, right? Or whatever it is. If it's onsets and making sure that every onset, every breath and every onset is clean. Pick a battle. Pick a specific battle. Let the chorus know and win that battle and celebrate the success. And celebrate it and never go back. Right, and that's the way choruses improve, right? This type of a system and doing it through not only the frontline director, but warm-ups and section leaders every week through all repertoire is a way to approach this. It's really important when you've got a chorus of varying ranges. How many of you have every singer in your chorus exactly the same skill level? Right? Good. I was hoping it wasn't just mine. They had a wide range of skill levels, right? But you have in your chorus, right? You've got the highly skilled folks, right? And you've also got the folks that maybe more opportunities for growth, right? Newer singers are more opportunities, right? But the thing is, if you set a bar that's here, are these people going to be successful? Probably not. Maybe they'll get to here, but what's probably mostly going to happen is some of these folks will go here, a lot of them will go here, or they'll go here. Right? They'll get frustrated. Now, if you want your chorus to improve, I would suggest that if every singer improves just a little, the chorus will probably improve. Right. Joe Cerruti talks about this with the Alexandria Harmonizers. When he came in, the model was, we're going to have a personal improvement program, a continuous personal improvement program. We're going to take our best singers to the guys that have the most opportunity for improvement, and we're going to do this. We're going to have everybody improve just a little bit. And then when we've won that battle, then we're going to have everybody pick a different thing and improve there. And that approach has taken them from his first time directing, they were 14th, to 9th, 7th, to 5th, to 3rd. I get it right, Chris?
Right.
Right. Am I anything to add? Am I misspeaking here, Chris?
No, absolutely. Right.
And so the model works, right? And this is a way, and it's not the only way, right? But it's a way that you can accept, for instance, a lot of different voice types in your chorus by riser placement and by working consistent production, and you can accept a wide range of skills and see consistent improvement with your chorus.
There was a former model which was to get rid of the lowest 10% and everybody would be better. The fact that everybody can improve really does help.
All that does is this,
Yeah.
right? And what it might do is create perhaps a little more consistency, right? But change is the only thing that's inevitable, right? And they're not gonna stay the same. And if there's no plan to teach the highest level, help them improve.
It was really unfortunate reclassification of the guys who weren't at the bottom before. You cut out the deadwood and suddenly you're at the bottom, and now you're the worst guys going, that's not gonna do anything.
So this kind of a system, right, and applying this consistently across at every level, individual, small, squad type level with sections or small pods in the risers and full choruses, has proven to be a pretty successful model. So overall, the system, and there is a syllabus that I'll pass around here in a few minutes that was developed for the class originally by Jim DeBusman. The syllabus we talk about here for your ensemble sound relates to, first of all, the individual tone, creating beautiful tone. There are some ensemble skills like proper vowels and tuning, and then getting more into the line of the song. So singing connected word sounds, and how does some of these ensemble skills contribute to more of the artistic delivery of the music? And then also, how do we create more sense of lock and ring within the expansion through things like balancing chords? So these are some of the things that, without looking at the sheet, that we came up with a beautiful tone in a previous version of class, but let's just toss out some ideas. How would you constitute a beautiful tone in your mind? What creates a beautiful tone?
No unused air. No unused air.
No unused air.
Yes.
Great. Great. So good balance of tone and air. Very good resonance. Right. Excellent.
Not over singing.
Not over singing. Great.
Freely produced.
Freely produced. Anything else?
Well, I think it should be pretty, it should sound nice.
It just sounded very pretty beauty,
Yeah.
and elegance and a beauty in the tone.
I think it should be very expressive. It can't just sit. If you really want a beautiful tone, it should do something.
Absolutely. Music never sits and never stalls. It always has to be. There always has to be life under the tone and expressiveness. And we'll look at some of the building blocks of creating more expressiveness in the music around articulation and synchronization and tone coverage.
Should have lift. Lift?
Lift. Yes, good lift through the tone and having buoyancy in the tone. Yes.
Balance, as in the warmth and brightness, so you got flexible.
Great. Balance, resonance. Excellent. All great things we can describe a beautiful tone, and these are the things we'll be looking at this week. These are some of the areas that were described, again, as part of the syllabus. We look at freely produced, and tension really is a key aspect here. Tension is our enemy. And in fact, just to prove that, let's all stand up again, please. And let's look at tension specific to the vocal tract and singing. let's sing Heart of My Heart. Just the first part, here we go.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you. Light of my life, my darling, I love you. I love you.
Great. How'd that feel? That's kind of any more descriptive? Let's start to describe how things feel as we go here. Some more specifics.
I felt that my voice is actually monotonous, that I'd hit the right notes, and you hold that within the chord.
Okay.
I was true to the note, and I was relaxed, but I don't think it was contributing more than my tone.
Okay, good, good.
I wasn't free, I was trying to, allowed to open up on each one, and I kind of be about halfway and then
So,
come back down.
right, so it felt a little restricted, okay, a little restricted in the voice. Anything else? Let's see if we can free things up a bit.
I don't think we quite knew what to expect. We were expecting to be not relaxed. We weren't relaxed.
Good, all right, good, that's good, yes.
Everybody was pretty solid, not moving, just standing still.
So let's talk about that first of all. Tension is the enemy, right? And held bodies or held body parts develop tension, right? Do anybody have guys that sing in the linebacker pose?
Yeah.
Well, this is
Good
not-
job.
Right. Yeah, no linebacker poses, right? Because that is going to just, again, lead to tension, right? Right in the ski jump as well. The body should be in constant micro motion. I'm not talking about waving fields of wheat, but I'm talking about micro motion, because that micro motion is just going to create freedom in the voice, freedom in the music, and it's going to help to release tension. So let's sing that again, Heart of My Heart, just first line, and just think about kind of that constant sense of micro motion and freedom. Here we go.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
Differences? Feel better? Anything specific better?
It was more alive, maybe.
The music was more alive, and was it easier to sing?
Yeah.
There was more connection from the breath to the tone.
Yeah, a lot more breath to tone connection. Yes, absolutely.
I find it easier to keep the shape in the back of my mouth, just sort of more naturally want it to be big.
Right.
It felt easier after you said micro motions. I was aware of everything that my body was doing.
Creating that awareness is critical, and particularly in four key areas, throughout the whole body, yes, but four key areas where the musculature or ligaments are directly connected to the larynx, and that's the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, and the tongue. Tension in any one of those four, that comes the four musketeers of vocal tension. Tension in any one of those four areas directly will impact the ability for you to freely phonate, because the vocal folds will not vibrate freely. There's undue tension at the core of the engine of our tone production. So let's do this. Let's first just kind of roll the shoulders here a little bit. Forward, slowly. Yeah.
I really like that term, micro movement, because a lot of guys are intimidated by the idea of having to move very dramatically to
Yeah.
singing.
It's
When
micro.
you make it micro, people are like, oh, well, I can move a little bit.
Right, right. Stretch here. For lunch, I said turkey sandwiches. We're gonna bite the tryptophan now. Shake it out a little bit. One arm here across the body, the other arm like this. Stretch. Oh, yeah, that's good. Other arm. Give yourself a big hug, a little self-love. Say, I love me. Release. Great. Heart of my heart.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
How'd that sound? How'd that feel?
Easy to tune.
Sounded good? Better? Feeling better? Out front here, folks in front, what difference are you hearing?
Yeah, there's.
More support from behind, the more sound in between the people here in the room.
Fewer individual and more group.
Yeah, a lot more group, just simply by eliminating some of the tension in the large muscle groups, right? So let's now look at the neck. Everybody gonna stretch out? Stretch. And now chins down to chest, or if you only have a single chin, good for you. Down. Good. Let's bring the chin over to the left shoulder. We feel a stretch right in here. Other way now. Now draw little circles with the tip of your nose. The other direction. Figure eights with the tip of your nose.
All I hear is crackling.
Here we go.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
Feel difference? It's improving it a little bit each time. So next thing is let's look at the jaw. Jaw tension. Jaw and neck in particular, as we start to get, and tongue really, we carry tension there, we don't even know it, right? In fact, for a minute, just imagine you've got a hot cup of coffee or tea, go ahead and grab that. Let's go ahead and take a sip. Feel the tension in the back of your neck? We're not even aware that we have that, right? But that's just, it's a reflex. We carry that kind of tension around in some of these muscle groups all the time. Right, but creating awareness of it while we're singing is going to, and eliminating that will help. Can you take a sip of that hot drink without adding tension in your neck? Go ahead and try. Sure, as long as you're aware of making sure that tension doesn't creep in. So let's do this with the jaw. We'll start with my massaging the hinge of the jaw from here. And let's massage the swallowing muscles, which kind of follow right along the jawline. Can you move your jaw back and forth with your hands without the muscles of your jaw? If you have TMJ, you might not want to do this.
You're big and I can't talk.
Good. Clasp the hands like this, give them a shake. Probably feel better to go. The chorus is going to do it anyway, right? So, all right, here we go.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
Were you consciously singing louder or working harder? Anyone?
I was keeping up with the group.
Were you? How many of you were singing perhaps easier than the first time? Anybody? Are you aware of how much more sound we're creating? Or you feel it? Right. Probably double the sound from the first time through, just by eliminating some of the tension. Now here's the hidden evil. This one plagues even very high level choruses and quartets. It's tongue tension. Go ahead and right here underneath the chin, right in front of the larynx, you find this kind of this ball of muscle. Anybody have a real tight ball there? That's the root of the tongue. And so this shows all that the tongue actually goes from all the way back down to here, and it's right down here, kind of at the top of the larynx. The tongue. And the amazing thing is that the tongue itself in the average adult is roughly the same size. However, could the three of you please come out here? Let's go ahead and this is going to be the easiest demonstration of the week. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the four of us, right? And tell me if our physiology here in our heads is the same. And let's do a right face. So does it look like we have the same physiology right in here?
No.
Right. Yet our tongues are all, let's go back to center and go this way as well. Yet our tongues are all roughly the same size. So what that means is that our tongues, thank you very much. How about a hand for our it means our tongues don't fit inside our mouths. In fact, I would venture to say that for the most relaxed tongue position, the tip of your tongue would be outside your mouth. Let's find out. So here's, you might want to take your glasses off for this one. I'll demonstrate it first. I'm going to bend over, I'm going to shake my head 3 times, I'm going to let my tongue hang. And then when I roll up, I'll leave the tongue hanging wherever it was. And let's see where it is. Here we go. 1. Right here. That's the one that I feel when I go. So usually, I would say right here, the tongue here all the time. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's bend over, shake 3 times, and then we're just going to sing the first chord of Heart of My Heart. Here we go. Shake 1. Let the tongue hang. 2, 3. Leave it hanging. Roll up. Here we go. How did you notice the difference? I hope. This is one of those that even locally it's a big difference, right? Just because the tongue is in a more relaxed position. Now, how many of you was the tip of your tongue all the way out of your mouth? Okay, look around. Look around. A good 25, 30% here in the room, maybe even more. How many was the tip of your tongue on your bottom lip? Right. How about on your bottom teeth?
Probably.
Inside your mouth? For no one was your tongue inside your mouth. And only one person had it on the teeth. Everybody was either on the bottom lip or outside the mouth. So just for kicks, we're just going to kind of sing vowels right now. We won't worry about consonants for good reason. Let's just sing the and keep the tongue there. Now, you may find the tongue is going to want to pull back in. Just because of muscle memory, right? So go ahead and shake one more time. Let's get it backwards and relax. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. You can hear better. When you think of it now, so let's follow on that for just a minute. The back of your tongue, well, not the very bottom, right, but the back end and the back of your mouth. When it's relaxed, is it low or is it high? Let's try it. Tell you what, let's just for kicks, let's make sure the back of the tongue is kind of low and down, laying flat, which we've heard for years, right? We've heard that the back tongue needs to be low. So let's put the back of the tongue low and sing that first chord. Here we go. Was that the sound we heard? No, the sound we heard before was in tune. It was free. It was resonant. When the back of the tongue is down, and we'll look at an X-ray a little later, it actually pushes back into the pharynx, back into the throat. And it creates less space. When you think about the space between the back of the tongue and the molars, right, is only a small part. And we create more space there by lifting the soft palate. It's actually the space behind the tongue to the back of the pharynx. That's where we get the freedom and the body of the resonance of the sound. And if we drop the tongue, it pushes back and robs us of that space and creates muscle and tension. The most relaxed tongue position is actually the E. Just sing an E. Nice free open E. Here we go. E. See, the back of the tongue is kind of high in the mouth. So let's keep that everything to the jaw relaxed again. Let's just kind of roll the little head, little bobblehead barber shopper. Right? And let's sing that, put the tongue back out here in the natural position, that ah, or the relaxed position outside the mouth. Sing the ah again. Here we go. Now I see a few folks have brought their tongue back in. Let's put that tongue back out. And what we're going to do now is, because it's kind of hard to keep the tongue out there and sing lyrics, so let's see what we can do to get it back in with minimizing the impact. Ready? Here we go. So now let's think about how little of the tongue can you actually impact by pulling it back into the mouth. Can we just kind of think about rolling the tip back in behind the lower gum ridge and keep the rest of the tongue in that relaxed position so we don't pull the whole tongue back? Does that make sense? So let's do that. Let's just sing that chord, and then we're just going to gradually try and roll the tip back in, and let's see what happens. Ready? Here we go. Everything out again. Roll the shoulders. Here we go. You know it's good when we hear woo here in the room. When that overtone is screaming like that, we have a pretty good idea that it's right. Is there anyone here who's never heard an overtone before?
I'm not sure I have.
Come here. Come on out here.
Oh, I've heard.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
I'm new to barbershop, so.
It's almost an emotional state.
Get used to overtones.
I know they're an object.
They're wonderful things, particularly with this kind of free singing and just intonation and proper balance, that the harmonics expand. So let's go ahead and relax again. Let's get the tongue in that relaxed position. And let's sing that chord again. Here we go.
I can hear that one, but I can't hear that
I
one.
wasn't singing that note, that's all.
Yeah.
Not singing that note, not that one.
Yeah, no, I could hear it was about, it wasn't as high as what you were indicating. I could hear a separate note.
Yes, you're going to hear a lot of those this week. We're really going to hear those. But those are all and they'll be audible. Big stack here in the Great, awesome. So all again, all that from just simply focusing on tension release from a few things. Yes.
Do you have in the notes you're handing out these very things that we've been doing right now in
Yes.
terms of which to?
Yeah, I think a lot of this is in some of the notes, and we will certainly do some recap as well. Can we get a couple of, I'd like maybe 2 or 3 basses and 2 baritone volunteers to come on down? Great. Come on down. Everybody else have a seat for a second, please. Again, one of the things is it's sometimes difficult to have our singers and the risers hear changes and understand the impact. So doing demonstrations.
I'll say bass.
We have all berries. Do we have any real bass, any basses here?
Yeah, I guys consider no one else sing bass, but actual bass.
Come on down. Maybe one more bass too.
Here, Chris.
Chris, come on down. Basses and then baritones. On and on. Here we go. Is that comfortable for everybody? Good. All right, so let's see what we can do to free up and expand this tone, and let's see what the impact is of tension. So let's go ahead and first just going to roll the shoulders. Sing that again. Here we go. Josh, one more time. Here we go. Hear a difference? What was the difference? Much tighter. All the individual voices were in the mix. What else?
Clarity of overtone structure.
Clarity of overtone structure, right? My wife in the room here, this is my wife Renee, who's also a singing judge in Harmony Inc. So love to have your input anytime from a singing category perspective in particular, the things that you're hearing here. Let's do this again. Let's get the tongue in that relaxed, out, if you don't mind, wherever it was, outside the mouth and the bottom lip. And let's let them hear what happens when we do that. Here we go. Was there a difference?
A lot of buzz in that place.
More buzz. I actually heard more individual voices. We didn't quite have the ensemble, but we had more resonance, more fire in a lot of the tones. Any other comments? So let's do this. Let's kind of get that tongue position again. Relaxed in the back. You can put it inside the mouth, and at the same time, let's see what impact just having a feet shoulder width apart, and just a slight kind of tilt here, so that we feel the breath fall low into the body. Let's do it again. Here we go. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we introduce some tension into the mix. So what we're going to do is as we're singing, let's roll the shoulders, and as we go, just kind of follow me. We're going to focus on the shoulders this time. Ready? Here we go. What'd you hear?
So much tighter.
Well, you start going sharp, a much thinner sound.
Thinner sound, that's right. The individual voices also.
Individual voices, tuning,
The throat
sound.
tightened up, it
Yeah,
goes
that
down,
was
collapse the instrument.
Yeah, so I'm sure none of you have singers that look like this when they're singing, right? So you hear what's happening with their voice. Let's do this. What we're going to do this time is let's make sure that let's find our skeleton. All right. So by finding our skeleton, we want to find that centered spot where our weight is neither forward nor back, neither left nor right, but the skeleton is supporting our weight, the maximum amount of our weight. And let's sing that again with the same kind of freedom here and buoyancy we had, and then just kind of, as I move around, you mirror with me. You ready? Here we go. Let's do it again. Ready? Here we go. What'd you hear?
Well, it's pretty obvious that their focus has been more to balance than it is to exhaling.
Right,
So
right.
the muscles are repurposing, and that makes all the stream almost gets changed.
The whole sound just split up.
Right.
Down, thin down.
Let's do this.
It's a pretty cool block though.
Yeah.
It's a great interval block.
Do you have I mean, we got some for Harmony University. We got some pretty good singers here, right? But do any of you have singers that do this?
Yes.
So let's go from. Let's see what happens when what kind of tension introduce and what happens in sound. When we do that, here we go. Where do you feel tension when you kind of went forward with this?
The neck.
Back of the neck, and as soon as we get to the neck, the shoulder, the jaws, and the tongue, game over. We can't freely produce. Let's do this. Let's just follow my head, and let's see what happens with the alignment as we move the head around. Ready? Here we go. Take a breath. Ready? Here we go. Some more.
Third one, the bass duck, when the chin goes down.
Right.
Suddenly
Yeah. How many?